This is Miss Lady B, La Boricua. Now it's time for the Family Meeting News.
Here are news highlights from the Family Meeting. The U.S. faces a catastrophic food supply crisis as American farmers are battling several issues when it comes to producing our food. The farm's economy is in pretty tough shape. When you look out on the horizon of things to come, you start to see some cracks, said John Newton, chief economist at the American Farm Bureau Federation. He went on to say regulated low prices, tariffs, and the inability to export have all cut into the salaries of farmers. They are now officially in crisis mode, just like the United States' food supply. Average farm income has fallen to near 15-year lows under this idiot's policies, and in some areas of the country, farm bankruptcies are soaring with no end in sight to his disastrous trade war. Many farmers have traveled to Washington to share their plights with the idiot himself, hoping that he'll end his trade war that's exacerbating what had already been a precarious food crisis. Farmers make up a fairly large chunk of his base, and an unwillingness to put food production in the United States first could be detrimental for re-election chances in 2020. It could also be the beginning of a catastrophic food shortage. The Federal Reserve Bank in Minneapolis warned back in November of rising Chapter 12 bankruptcies used by family farmers to restructure massive amounts of debt. The Fed said the strain of low commodity prices is starting to show up not just in bottom line profitability, but in simple viability. The increase in bankruptcies was driven by woes in Wisconsin's dairy sector, which shrunk by about 1,200 operations, or 13% in 2016 from October 2018. You've had farms that have gone out of business, that have gone bankrupt because of this trade war, said Kuehl of Farmers for Free Trade. There's a lot of farmers going through tough conversations right now with their lenders. So far, the government's solution to the problem they've created is to give more welfare to farmers, thus directly placing the burden on the backs of taxpayers. Couple that with the idiot's disastrous tax bill plan, now you have a highly combustible situation within the U.S. economy system just waiting to happen. As the government continues to pass the burden on to others while destroying the food industry, things could very well reach apocalyptic levels. Nothing will see this country spiral into complete chaos and disarray like a lack of food. Alarmingly, scientists have already said that the global food supply system is broken. To put it simply, this administration, by interfering in the agriculture industry and the damage it continues to cause, will solely be responsible for the food crisis we all are about to face if it doesn't do something to stop it now. Visit our website, tfmradioshow.com, and be sure to go and like our Facebook page on the Family Meeting on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter at TFM Radio Show. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Family Meeting Radio Show, where you can see us live streaming this broadcast right now. Are you looking to advertise? Spots are available as low as $30. Become one of our cousins today. Email us info@tfmradioshow.com. I'm Teresa McDonald, and this has been your Real News Highlights for Sunday, February the 10th. The Family Meeting Radio Show starts right now with your host, Eric Grant.
Make a smart financial move for retirement. Make your retirement money into an IRA. Schedule income. Support your dream. Explore investment options. Gain full control over your money. Give the money a chance for additional tax-deferred growth. How do you start? Call Polaris Wealth Management, the resource for IRA rollovers. Call 312-951-2800. 2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. Polaris Wealth Management is the resource for IRA rollovers. That's 312-951-2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. We help new retirees plan to protect their money. Securities offered through Line Street Financial LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Line Street Advisors LLC. Polaris Wealth Management and Line Street are not affiliated.
Are you looking for the best residential and commercial laundry service in the Chicagoland area? Then you want PleaseDoMyLaundry.com. That's PleaseDoMyLaundry.com.
The name of my business is Mrs. Indecent Exposure. We are an intimate aromatherapy, massage, bath, and body shop. We have the best aromatherapy, bath, and skincare products available. You can find us in Chicago and on the World Wide Web. We're located at 6916 West North Avenue in Chicago, 3 blocks east of Harlem Avenue. 773-417-3223. Mrs. Indecent Exposure, MRSNDEXPO.com.
Hello, this is Jade Phillips, and I'm a management consultant in Chicago. I listen to the family meeting.
This is Greg Palast. I can't get enough of the family meeting.
Greg is excited, ain't he?
Can't get enough.
He okay. Somebody listen to Greg do that, man. Like, dude, you need to get you some Quaaludes or something, man. Calm down, man.
I can't get enough.
Welcome to the broadcast. I'm your host, E. What's up, y'all?
Hey.
In the space shuttle cockpit controlling everything is my girl, Zoe. What's up, Zoe?
Hey, Zoe.
Dennis is bouncing around here somewhere. What's up, D?
Yes, he is. Yeah. I just gave him an earful.
My man. Make sure you come in here and say hi, D.
Is he in there?
Man.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the screen.
Oh.
You think I'm looking?
I know.
All right. I do that, man.
That's all right. It's not your fault.
Yeah. Thank you, Teresa, for doing that news. And
You're welcome.
The real news.
Yeah.
The real facts.
Yes, from real research.
We need like an intro for that. Real news, real facts.
Real raw. I'll record it. I'll do it.
Yeah, do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Visit our webpage, tfmradioshow.com. Make sure you enter your email address right in the middle of the page. Right below that is our archived broadcasts and our often requested music playlist courtesy of my man, DJ Bubbles.
I miss Bubbles.
Me too.
He's working hard, man. Young fella. Got to work hard.
I miss him.
Yeah. And you also can find our broadcast right there, right now. It's broadcasting on camera, like video right there on the webpage.
I see you.
That's right.
I see you.
TFMRadioshow.com. Find us right there. We're also on Facebook at The Family Meeting Radio, on Twitter at TFM Radio Show, and I almost changed our Instagram. I thought I figured it out.
We got halfway in and
No, but it wouldn't take for some reason. I thought, like, we got to keep this meeting the family thing.
You couldn't, like, delete and save or something like that?
I don't. It's like stuff. Yeah. Get the kids involved. Yep. During the holiday season, I know it's a month ago. I know you were flinging your credit card around. All y'all were. Flinging it around.
And
like
still is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so everybody got your stuff now, man. Protect yourself for as little as $6 a month. Protect your identity for as little as $6 a month. Visit lookaftermyid.com. That's lookaftermyid.com. The lines fill quickly. The number is 773-763-9278. 773-763-9278. Man, Virginia is crazy.
They on fire.
Crazy, man.
Virginia is on fire right
Oh, my
about now.
God, man. That's crazy, man.
I just don't even have anything to say about it.
When I looked around, I was like, because I got your text message when you said if this is him trying to blame Fairfax for his way of doing it. I was like, what did you talk about? What's the link? What's going on? Because I hadn't heard. And then when I finally figured it out, I was like, oh, this some bull.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. And then it just continued to roll
It just kept
downhill.
going.
That snowball,
It just kept going.
It's picking up toys along the way.
I'm loving it.
So I picked
too.
up on, all of the different newscasts. And then you've got the people who are solidly on the right and solidly on the left weighing in however they weigh in. And I thought to myself, y'all, it's like the Klansmen fighting each other. No, I'm more of a white supremacist than you are.
Or I'm not as bad of a white supremacist as you are.
Or I'm a better one than you are.
I'm a better one, yeah.
There's all range of them.
I'm the least white supremacist person you ever met.
Of course, you got them crazy-ass black Republicans who, he didn't, it's not as bad. Democrats, blah, blah. Come on, man.
I know.
It's been a hot mess.
I just walked away from it. I literally said, you know what? Like we said last week, we can't change it.
Nope.
We have our fairly decent opinions on it, but I just said, you know what? Yeah.
But it is. It's apropos that it's Black History Month as that kind of shenanigans go on.
Bingo, bango, bam.
There you go.
Wasn't it awfully coinky dinky and
well, yeah, all
timely?
That's true. But y'all know me. I try to look through all that stuff and figure out, okay, what's the real story?
Yeah.
And when you were little and you with your brother and sister in the room and y'all stomping around, mama said be quiet or all y'all get a whooping.
Yep. Not just you.
Don't make me come up there, because if I got to come up there, all y'all, I don't care who did what, y'all get a whooping.
Yes.
And the reality is both of these political gangs are culprits in this whole racist thing.
This goes back to what I said last week. We, for the longest time, whatever that is defined as, have been saying, it ain't just Republicans or just Democrats or liberals or conservatives. We've been saying for the longest time.
Both of them.
It's both of y'all.
And I thought about that last week when we were talking about Northam, when we were wanting to use him for leverage.
Right.
And I said, my God, we sound like they sound. As long as they're addressing our permanent interests and they're advancing our agenda, then we're okay.
Well, but that comes from, like you said so many times, Tressa, we always have found a way
to be empathetic.
And empathetic, forgiving, and take the high road and say, okay.
Yeah, but this is not an empathy thing. This should be a hardcore, we're talking about the game of politics.
Yeah.
If we're going to participate in playing it, let's play the way they play.
Yeah.
And this is how they play. That's where I was going.
Right.
This is how they play.
Right.
So,
y'all should put the screws to him. Because he already said now, I'm going to spend the last 3 years of my term making sure that I equalize and blah, blah, blah. Right. All right. So check this out, player.
Let's see what you're going to do.
Yeah. So you can start here, player.
Like Eric always said. Okay.
But y'all know how I am. I had to kind of go, am I being just like them?
No,
and
not in a different way. In a different way.
Well, it's okay to be like them. I think what you mean to say is, am I playing the game the way they're playing it now? And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better way of looking at it.
But then I wanted to make the distinction because I got to feel better about myself, because when I start comparing myself to them, I was like, my God.
But they're not going to change, though, because, Ta-Nehisi Coates always talks about in his books about how the principal means of changing behavior of black people in this country is always bringing harm to our bodies. It's violence of some kind. And so, when you talk about the right, the left, the Republicans, the Democrats, all that stuff, both are exacting violence on our community. Both of them exact educational, economic, and environmental violence on black people.
And medical violence.
Right. You could go down the line. All of those are forms of violence. They're not physical whipping and castration and all that thing. These are physical violence. And these are perpetrated by Democrats in Chicago are famous for exacting violence
Very much
on black people. Rahm Emanuel is exacting educational violence by closing schools on the south and west sides where black people live and replacing that expenditure with police officers. That's exacting educational violence. That's creating a police state in the black community. Those steel mills on the southeast side where black and Hispanic people live, right? They ain't gonna clean that up because it costs too much. That's environmental violence.
It doesn't, and here's the thing. It doesn't cost too much. It's just that
it's too much for y'all.
You're right.
Right. I ain't spending that money on y'all.
Yeah.
If you ever notice on the Edens Expressway that there are no billboards, they don't allow billboards on the Edens because it creates light pollution. but they're exacting light pollution violence on black people on the south and west side with them billboards. I'm telling you, it goes down the line.
Oh, it does.
Right?
You're right.
You could bank loans. When a black person goes to get a business loan, statistically, they are less likely by a wide margin to get that loan.
Well,
that's economic violence.
And then just little things like this. So right now we're in the crosshairs of terrible winter in Chicago. Last week's temperature, the snow. So we're in it now. And, to those who want to say we aren't having any, environmental issues, we're about a month behind on our seasons now. It's pretty much documented.
Oh, God, yes.
My point is, to Eric's point about where the harm, just drive around the
violence.
Drive around the Metroplex. And I will assure you that to use the Edens as an example, if you drive up the Edens, if you start where the split is and drive up to let's just say Lake Cook Road, where it splits off there at 41, and do the same drive going south, it ain't that you ain't got them potholes and all that other craziness.
No, of course not.
You're right.
That's exacting violence on people. That's what I want to make sure that I emphasize that term. That's violence.
Yep.
That is the modern. In the old days, they would string you up, castrate you, burn you, that kind of thing. That was the kind of violence they exacted. The only difference between the two political gangs, and I don't think it's a big difference, is that one makes a home for the people who still believe in that kind of violence. Right? The Klansmen and the alt-right and those people, they identify as Republicans.
And they have a home.
But look here, before y'all think, well, you're favoring them. No, I'm not. I'm saying they're equally as bad.
Yeah.
In fact, I would argue that the economic, environmental, and educational violence is worse because it's subtle and it's delivered in a way that allows them to argue that it's not violent.
Right. Oh, sure. And that's so anybody that wants to, the standard conversation or reply to when black people say, or the question is asked, why have we leaned to the Democratic Party? And say, well, because don't you know that the Republicans freed the slaves, and they go down that conversation. The pushback has to be from us. Hold on a second, player. Both of y'all have done equal amounts of harm and damage. It's just a question of who's been carrying the mantle at that particular time.
Right.
But they both carry the mantle.
But they carry it in different. To your point,
in different ways.
In different ways at the same time.
Right.
Because
so Democrats ain't no friend to black people. I mean, but at the same time, I want to make sure I'm clear now. To say that black people are stupid for supporting Democrats is insulting.
Yep.
It is.
And you got these black Republicans over there saying, you've been sold out. No, all black people ain't stupid, right? If 90% of the people are saying we're going to do this and 10% of them are not, who's really the idiot?
Right.
Yeah.
Where's the math on that one? And why do you? Right. And I go back to this one. So if you're a Republican and you happen to be black, why you got to call yourself a black Republican? That means you still sitting at the last chair at the table.
We weren't gonna let that go.
I mean, come on, Treston. Let's be honest now. I mean, you still sitting at the last chair with the broken leg.
Or as our
just be a Republican. Why you got to be a black Republican?
As our listener Don Cuss puts it. They wouldn't pee on the best part of you.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Don said that?
That's not what he said.
That's exactly what Don said.
I thought he said it the other way.
No,
okay,
he said it that way.
My bad, Don.
So I watched I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, so I watched, I don't know if you guys saw the debate, the mayoral debate last night.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Nah.
No, it wasn't even worth watching. And let me tell you something, man. The issue of...
Did you throw anything at the television? That's all I want to know.
No, I know. I paid too much for that television.
Just a sock, even a sock.
Not nothing to the television.
Okay,
man.
sorry.
I have I already had a lot of respect for Willie Wilson. I got a newfound respect for the man. I got to watch the debate. So the issue of violence in Chicago came up, right? And so I want you to think about the term violence in Chicago in the context of what we just talked about.
Got it.
What is violence? So there's parts of the community that use the term violence. And they refer to black people killing each other in Chicago, and so the answer that all the politicians gave, except Willie Wilson, was they were going to renew the police contract, and they were going to add more detectives, and they emphasized catching people. Mm-hmm. And this just goes to the whole thing that this country's always been involved with, of not actually addressing the cause of the problem, addressing the result of the problem.
Reactive versus proactive.
I wouldn't even say it's reactive as much as it's a chasing the wrong problem.
Yeah,
they think the
still
criminals,
a reaction to what they perceive to be.
Yeah, I agree it's a reaction, but I think it's also a reaction to react to the cause of the problem. I don't mind them reacting, but just react to the right thing.
Well, and
don't react by saying we're going to add more police.
Why do we always have to be behind?
But see, that's why I'm saying I think what you were trying to say to some extent, Tressa, it's not just the reaction. It's actually, to some extent, a little bit of a plan.
Yeah, it's a plan. You wait.
It's not. It's a conscious order.
Right.
To Eric, I mean, were you going a little bit down that road?
Well, no. Where I was going is you're dealing with the wrong problem. If you think that catching the criminal is the problem.
Is the problem.
The problem is why
Where
they've
did it get
decided to become a criminal. A child is not born with the life aspiration to become a criminal.
No more than they're born racist, no more than they're born, you understand what
It
seeing
becomes
color.
necessity.
Right.
Or training of some kind.
Training.
Right.
Or necessity. Yeah.
Joining a gang. I mean, you talk to any psychiatrist and psychologist and sociologist, and they will tell you joining a gang is an act of self-preservation in many cases.
Right. So you got this current mayor who is tiffing, and I'll explain tiffing when we come back from the break, the South and West Sides, and spending the money he tiffed on downtown.
Yeah.
Right. That's environmental. I'm sorry. That's economic theft and violence.
And environmental theft and violence.
It's all of that. So I want to talk about what I saw last night, and as a prime example of exacting violence on the least of us. And I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about people who are not as well off.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about more than anything. The number is 773-763-9278. Stay tuned for more of the Family Meeting.
This is Georgia, Eric's mother. Stay tuned for more of Eric and his guests this week.
You know, till you prove your point, you just can't let it go. But I like it.
A 2016 study estimates that 13.1 million Americans were victims of identity theft that year. Fight back against identity theft by signing up for Identity Guard. Identity Guard monitors your credit and identity information with alerts that can help you respond quickly if certain changes indicating fraudulent activity are detected, as well as help protect your computer from viruses, keylogging, and other serious threats. Plus, with Identity Guard's dynamic credit management resources and tools, you will have helpful information as you make better financial and credit decisions. Identity Guard includes $1 million identity theft insurance and lost wallet protection, and more if you ever do become a victim. Protect your ID by visiting lookaftermyid.com. That's lookaftermyid.com to securely sign up for Identity Guard today.
A Single K plan is a 401k plan designed especially for business owners and immediate family, regardless if they are incorporated or not. Single Ks offer both employer and employee contributions and in many cases have no setup fee or annual plan administrative charges. Single Ks are simple to administer with no government reporting required. Most importantly, this plan allows employees to access their savings via hardship withdrawals or loans. Visit our website at polarisadvice.com or call us about your business or organization's retirement plan at 312-951-2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. That's 312-951-2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. Polaris provides empowering advice for everyone.
Securities offered through Lion Street Financial LLC, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advisor services offered through Lion Street Advisors LLC, registered investment advisors. Polaris Wealth Management and Lion Street Financial are not affiliated.
A basic and essential part of any financial plan is savings. Most of whatever cash you have will be there because you put it there, not necessarily because of some fancy investment. Now with Save and Plan, Polaris has introduced a way for you to get empowering financial advice. Save and Plan is simple. Just sign up to save on a systematic monthly basis directly from your account and gain access to a planner and our planning services. Once you sign up to save, Polaris will help you develop a customized financial plan and give you a real person to speak with. Your dedicated planner is just an email or phone call away. Save and Plan offers empowering advice for everyone. Visit us at polarisadvice.com and call us today at 312-951-2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. That's 312-951-2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. Save and Plan, empowering advice for everyone.
Securities offered through Lion Street Financial LLC, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advisor services offered through Lion Street Advisors LLC, registered investment advisors. Polaris Wealth Management and Lion Street Financial are not affiliated.
1, 2, 3, 4, hit it! 1, 2, 2, 2, 2.
was one DJ who had to pass the test, and now he's down below and he's ready to play. That's right, y'all. His name is AJ.
This is Susan Manuel, www.ablconsulting.net. Welcome back to the family meeting.
Yeah, so the number is 773-763-9278. Let's talk about where the real violence in Chicago is, right? Because the real violence is the root cause of the violence that gets reported.
And the physical violence, the economic. You've said this thousands of times. The economic violence that's in our community here in Chicago and across the United States of America.
Yeah, they really want to make the word violence synonymous with like an action that's being perpetrated or we're perpetrating on ourselves.
Right.
So when you hear that, that's what you think of. But I like where you're going with this, Eric. It's not just that part of it. That's violence in and of itself, but the economic, educational,
environmental,
medical. All of those, medical, all of that is still violence, and it brings about a certain level of angst, anxiety,
and survival,
stress,
and resulting physical violence.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So Willie Wilson was the only person to say, "Listen, I ain't interested in adding no more police. You only need police if you're exacting economic and educational and environmental violence on people. You don't need the police. That's why there's not that many police in some of the suburbs where they don't have violence, because they have economic opportunity. Right? So you got the mayor, and this is how, in case y'all don't know how a TIF works, tax increment financing. Basically, the city is getting a loan on anticipated tax revenue in different communities. A bank may come in and say, listen, this community may generate $1,000 in taxes for you. We'll give you $900, right? And then you pay us back the full $1,000, we get to keep the 10. That's how the bankers make money, right? So now what the mayor's done is taken that $900 he got from the bank, and he doesn't spend it in the community that he borrowed against. He's borrowing it on the south side and the west sides and spending it downtown.
Yeah, it is
trickle down economics,
and that's why I'm glad he's going, because it's part of the Rauner playbook. A lot of people don't understand that, and I've been saying for the longest time. Rahm is leaving, in my opinion. He's leaving largely because he knew that Rauner wasn't going to get reelected. He wasn't going to have that downstate backboard. That's part of it. That's not the entire part, but I believe it's a big part, because he doesn't. I've felt this way for a long time, and Eric has a lot more detail on it. But Rahm's decisions to put police in and take teachers away was something he should. I don't know what the retribution should be for that, but that's
well. I mean, but look, I have to make sure that I address this correctly, because the argument oftentimes is, well, we had to close the schools because they were not occupied, they were half empty. I saw one of the candidates last night say there were 143,000 empty seats in Chicago public schools, and that portends the necessity to reduce the number of buildings. I get that. Right, but they shouldn't all be in the south and west side.
No,
that's where the violence takes place.
And then ask the question: how did they actually get there? Nobody. Let me rephrase this. I'm of the mindset that there are a lot of narrow-minded white people in Chicagoland area that don't want to have that conversation.
Who characterize themselves as liberal.
Correct. That's why I didn't say Republican or Democrat. I said narrow-minded white people in Chicago. They are of all three gangs: the Republican gang, the Democratic gang, and the independent gang. The ones that punk out and don't want to say which side they're on and say, I'm an independent.
Well, I would pose a different argument to that.
So you get my point?
I do.
That conversation,
I do.
Nobody wants to have that conversation. How did they get to the point where they now have, how many seats were
143,000 was the number they used.
Correct.
Just CPS overall. They didn't break it down to different where those seats were.
No.
The only reason I say
Paul Vallis knows, though.
Yeah, but the only reason I said that when you said they can't all be on the south and west sides, the only reason I said that I might offer a different thought on that is because remember after the show when we do our little round table and we sit and we talk, and we talked about the 2010 and the 2000 census and how virtually the African American population, which we know the south and west sides are predominantly African American. The African American population from census 2000 to census 2010. Now we'll have the 2020 coming up, but virtually the population didn't change. Our percentage, if you will, of the population did not change. So that would offer me some insight to what are we doing. Either one, we're dying at a rate that is equal to us giving birth.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Right.
But what if the actual numbers or the actual data from that bears out the fact that we aren't really having children the way that they say we're having children? Because therefore that would be why the seats are empty on the South and West Side. If that's what, but I asked the question, do they come with pockets data to show where those seats were missing? But I found that fascinating, though.
That our population percentage didn't go down.
Virtually didn't change.
And that's the lie.
But the white population dropped. I don't want to say that word.
But here's the point, Tressa. You're right. And that's happening in the top 10 populated cities in America.
Which would then further why Eric is saying what he's saying. Why do they get to keep their schools and we don't if our population is unchanged?
If it's not, they keep their well-resourced schools.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you close those other buildings on the South Side, then you have more resources for the North Side.
To go over there, which is your point you're making about the TIF districts.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. So let's talk about the real violence that begots the violence. Is it begots the word? Should I?
Begats.
Begats the violence.
I'm with you.
Right. The real violence is the economic and educational and on down the line. If you pick a social ill in society, in Chicago and any other city, you'll find that people of color suffer at higher proportional rates.
Yes, they do.
Right. So your boy in Virginia, that's his first thing. You need to ferret out those numbers, those discrepancies, those differences in numbers that don't make any sense. If we're not dying faster than everybody else, why are we sicker than everybody else? Why are we not getting educated as fast as everybody else? Why is violence such an integral part of our community?
Why is our wealth not increasing at the rate that other communities are?
And then put in place things to address that. And then you'll find that you have less of a need for police because they won't be shooting each other. People who got something to live for don't engage in that kind of behavior.
They're not worried about that.
Man, I told somebody that the other day. I don't have time for this mess. I'm too busy trying to figure out my next step in going forward in life. And you're right. If you give a person that opportunity, because we talk about this all the time, life distributes talents equally, but it doesn't always distribute opportunities equally.
Right.
So when a person has an opportunity and they actually take that, because I know somebody's going to come in with a bunch of single source, examples of how somebody had an opportunity and squandered it. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have callers today.
Yeah, that'll say that.
They'll have the single source about that. Well, what about this black person?
Exactly.
That's always the case. The exceptional versus the rule.
Exactly.
And so to those,
but inherently though, the system exacts violence on people. And here's one of the violent things now. So you are legalizing weed. You've already locked up a bunch of black people.
And now you want to legalize it.
Now you want to legalize it. And then you set it up such that the people who are experts at it, who you've been locking up,
is locked up.
Can't participate in business.
And so here's a real quick tidbit I found out. So Exhibit, the entertainer, Exhibit, quietly has built as part of his rebuilding his empire. He got certification, the licensing, and all of that in California to be at the front of the line on that conversation. And he said exactly what you just said in your last 4 sentences. He said, "Why in the hell would I allow people who don't know a doggone thing about this to get in front of me? And I know product, I know distribution.
I got a customer base."
Right. I heard this on an interview, and I can't remember where I heard it. But anyhow, you can probably Google it and find it. But he said, this is the problem in America. Black folks, once again, he said, even with weed, we built the market.
Right.
And then we get incarcerated for that. And now the market reemerges. And they
still incarcerated for something that's legal. Right, so I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, how your grandfather. It was illegal then, so you should stay locked up. But it seemed to me a reasonable society would say, okay, all y'all get to go free now.
If that's what it was for, and that was your only crime, you get to go free. Because this now, and this is when we talk about taking our eye off the ball. Not we just as black people, but we'll say black folks. This is an area where we definitely need to put our eyes on the ball, because I have a friend through my wife that has been working really hard to get a dispensary. Okay, so I'm going to just call it as it is. She and her husband are Jewish, And the reason I point this out is that they said, and then we went to dinner, this was about a year ago, and she said, this is an opportunity for us to really take advantage of the benefit that the medical.
Get out of here.
And I laughed and I said, and I turned to her and I said, I'm not going to mention her name. I said, because we're tight. I said, come on now. I said, you really want to have me, your black friend, believe that the reason that you're taking this on is because of the medical benefit? I said, just admit that it's it's an income opportunity for you.
Which we've already pretty much built.
We built.
And that's another thing that they're stealing. They're stealing from us again.
Right. I've been waiting for somebody to grab that ball and run with it.
They're not stealing. They're exaccking violence on us.
Yeah, because it's an area.
You call it what you want to call it. They still steal. Like they stole our music.
But watch this. Watch the rhythm of this, though. If it's just stealing, the penalty is different for stealing than it is for exacting violence.
But that's true. That's true.
I think it's really important that we characterize the violence, how it's morphed.
Recharacterize what the end result is, which is violence, versus just calling it stealing.
Because the end result, is actually worse in the instances that you're talking about.
And because we're locked up and you're squeezed out of the marketplace and. It's a terrible thing.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine who is an attorney, and she said that her concern is that because of the way that the dispensaries are being put together throughout the country and the cities and the states that are going to legalize it, she said her concern is that there will be a leapfrog right over black folks who have the wherewithal to actually get them because of what Eric just said. The market is already there. So the three of us have the wherewithal to go and get access and set up a dispensary.
Well, my thing should be this. If they're going to, and I don't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. Go. If
they are going to legalize it, that'd be like any other industry, right? They're going to legalize it, regulate it a little bit, and tax it, right? So that's just like any other industry that I want to get into. I should be able to go and get a business license and open up a business to be able to sell my legal product.
Well, that was kind of her point. That's why it's such a stretch for black people to get to the table because of the fact that it will create this tax base within our communities. So she said, once again, the opportunity for us to get into a business
is violently snatched from us
because they know that we're going to be able to blow, no pun intended, we're going to blow it up.
Blow it up. Yeah.
That's the part that when she broke it, and she broke it down even further because she got into the legal conversation, and I was like, "You got to be." I had to get up and walk out.
Then this would be a perfect opportunity for us as a community to really, really just lock this down and go, you know what? You might be legal to sell yours, but I'm not going over there and buying it from you. Let's get to, it's almost like our neighborhoods. At one point in time, when you looked around, there were black-owned businesses in our neighborhoods. And then as things began to change, I don't know whether that was due to systematic things that were put in place or whatever.
It was called economic violence in the 70s.
No, but the businesses just changed.
Yeah, the business just changed. So now you look around, we don't own nothing in our neighborhoods anymore.
Actually, we do. It's just too much of it. It's illegal now.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just trying, I'm trying to put it into PC. I'm trying to be PC about it.
Let me give you an example. So you got a hardware store, right? And they steal you blind. You can't stay open anymore, so you close it. But then on that same corner, you got drug dealers. That's a business. They're business people. They do all the things that a business person does. It just happens to be illegal. We still got businesses. They legalize that business now.
Yeah.
And then squeeze us out.
Because they don't. That's what she was saying to me about the right way to do it.
Because you got white people coming to our community to buy what our legal business owners are selling.
And, yeah.
They ain't walking the streets in Highland Park. Ain't nobody on the corner of Highland Park. Yo, ain't nobody doing that.
You just straight pissed me off, making me think about
That's why I was been waiting. I was like, come on, trust me.
They coming in here to get some Harold's and some weed. That's what they coming to town to do.
I am straight pissed off now.
See that? But wait a minute. Let's make sure that we don't dig too deep into the weed business as opposed to the actual violence.
Anything
else. One example of violence.
That's just one example. Yeah. There's many more.
Right. We want people like this dude Northam, if he stays in his chair, to deal with that violence.
Absolutely.
That's why we want to characterize it as violence.
I had to come around on my thinking on that. I said throughout the course of the week, I listened to a lot of different things, and I said, you know what? At the end of the day, They didn't handle the quote PR part of it, which kind of makes me laugh. I was telling Ann, I said, if I was
no PR if you got blackface on. Plus, your dumb ass, you put shoe polish on your face. You know how hard that is to get off your face? That's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I would have. So anyhow,
hold up. What about the elementary school in Atlanta that did the Black History Month, cited and had all of the kids holding the little black Sambo mask?
Yeah. I have a comment, but I'm not going to say it.
I'm done.
But to that end, let the boys stick around. But we need to. That's what black folks in Virginia should be doing right now. So you know what? No.
Well, what I'm saying though is that I don't care if he stays around or if he goes. I'm just saying if he does, or whoever follows him, need to. Your first priority is deal with the violence in our community, and it ain't the shooting, the stuff that you publicize.
Yeah,
it's the economic, environmental,
but that's
educational
take
violence.
The populace of that state to do that.
To recognize it as violence.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Once you recognize it as violence,
then you can approach it differently.
Agreed.
Right. So anytime you see the economic disparity, change the disparity to violence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anytime you see that.
It's just violence.
If you're listening right now, change it to violence.
You came in and raped and pillaged our communities.
Yeah.
That was
like the aliens
violence.
in the movies. You come in and steal all the resources.
I got denied a loan. That's violence.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
I got it.
Okay, the phones are next. I see Eugene, Dave, Jim. I hope y'all listening. Paul, Roosevelt, Edward, and Denise. Okay, do we know Denise?
We're about to.
Denise, you first when we come back.
We should start with Denise.
She from Elgin. Hopefully she's not from South Elgin, because you know that dude from South.
You don't like
Elgin.
You ain't down with the South Side of Elgin?
South
Side Elgin.
But see, you can be from South Elgin and it's okay. But if you're from the South Side of Chicago, there's a problem.
See what I'm saying?
Because Elgin's a suburb.
See what I'm saying?
Stay tuned for more of the Family Meeting.
Hey Chicago, this is motivational speaker and author William A. Eads II, author of the book Listen If You Want to Succeed. Keep listening to the Family.
This is Richard Chu, owner of First Capital Insurance Group, and my message is do what is doable. We each have a different measure of financial success. My mission is to help you define your financial goals in light of a realistic budget and time horizon. I want you to have a great year and a great life, but we have to keep it real. Is your retirement plan giving you the protection, interest rate, and cash you'll need in retirement? If you've had issues with your 401k, IRA, or other financial programs, give us a call. We have proven solutions and we can help. My direct number is 312-243-3907. Let's talk soon, or visit my website, firstcig.com. That's the number 1, stcig.com.
Identity theft occurs when someone gains access to your personally identifiable information and uses it without your knowledge. Stolen information can include your social security number, credit card numbers, email login information, driver's license number, and much more. Once someone begins exploiting your identity, there are literally hundreds of ways they can affect your finances, medical coverage, and yes, even government records. Fight back against identity theft with Identity Guard. Identity Guard monitors your valuable credit and identity information with alerts that can help you respond quickly if certain changes indicating fraudulent activity are detected. Identity Guard includes $1 million identity theft insurance and lost wallet protection and more. Protect your ID for as little as $6 per month. Yes, $6 per month by visiting lookaftermyid.com. That's lookaftermyid.com to securely sign up for Identity Guard. Do it today.
Mom, Dad, let's talk. It seems like only yesterday your parents were offering you advice, but now you could be in a position to help them. Do they have a plan? How would they handle a long-term care event? Are they prepared emotionally and financially for the future? Starting those conversations can be challenging. Call Polaris Insurance Agency and we'll send you the Let's Talk guide free of charge. Call 888-355-7154. Again, 888-355-7154.
Time to get funky First time I stepped in, didn't give you it, but give you what? The beef or the teeth, I often come to taste it tough, but must not be just enough to manifest the fabric, mathematics, black be that of Asiatic, rock the three, subtract the static, then that you're rocking through my concept. Now I got to stand for this why civilized it, hip hop rhyme from a black mind, to kicking it to you all the time. Ice alarm, you like a more a peace sign, represents my way of life. And
Hi, this is Jennifer Marlowe from Wintrust Wealth Management. Welcome back to the family meeting.
I know about them poor righteous teachers, man.
You know what? I asked the question the other day. What happened to that group? I promise you I did.
What group?
Poor righteous teachers.
PRT?
They was on point.
They still out there.
I know they are. They touring too, probably somewhere. I just wish they'd get it together.
A couple of them got down with with Redman and that whole crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went out to E's office Wednesday, and he had
Wu-Tang Clan.
It was Wu-Tang, right?
Mm-hmm.
I walked in, and he had Raphael playing. I was like, forget the meeting. Let me just chill out here. Because he was jammed. And then the guys that showed up from the company.
You know what? When you go to Eric's office again.
with the guys that showed up that we were meeting with, they walked in, and I was like, oh, it's cool in here.
You know what else I'm saying? Except for the desk over there, you wouldn't think he was in his office because the couches and the chairs and the big old TV up in. I'm like, does he get any work done in
Sure,
here?
you haven't been in my new office, have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah.
So the new office is even more dope than the old? Oh, see.
Yeah, I'd say it's Tressa, on a scale of 1 to 10, the old office would have been like a 7 in K factor. This is 9.5.
Oh, see. Yeah, I don't even want to see the new office there. Because I'm telling you, the old office, I was like, does he get any work done in here? Because
watching Netflix and stuff.
But he had Raphael bumping. It was like, man, okay. Yeah. All right, man, we got to be quiet so he can do his thing.
Yeah, let me get Denise. She's calling from Elgin. Denise, what's up, girl?
Yes, I'm calling about the governorship in Virginia.
Yeah, those clowns. How about that?
And I just want to say that we have to consider this idea, but you might be offended at what I say. But I've worked for many years with black men and black women, and at numerous times in my lifetime in the working community, I've come across men who will say, I will never date or marry a woman who's darker skinned than I am. And I don't know about black women. I don't know. I've never heard any remark like that from black women. But
we do have internal racism in our community. We do have internal racism, and a lot of it stems from how we were treated in slavery. See, the lighter-skinned slaves were kept in or close to the house, and the darker-skinned slaves were kept farther in the field. It starts there, by many accounts.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It is
something that everybody has to consider about themselves and hope that they can be truthful with themselves about. But this is probably going to keep on going. The Republicans see it as a way to upset the Democratic community and frustrate voters. And everybody has something dire in their closet that they don't want somebody else to find out about. But they will find out, and anybody who has anything they regrets in their lifetime and they decide to become a politician, it's probably not going to be a secret very long.
No, I hope not either, because I want to know who the Klansmen are among us.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I mean, what if you found out someone in your family harbored those sentiments? Someone real close to you. What do?
Well, I don't really associate with them. I do have people in my family have been that way, yes. Mm-hmm. And there's no way of changing their minds. They're a brick wall. You can't get through.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to deal with them.
Well, you probably already figured this out, Denise, but Eric says oftentimes, why do we want to try to change the mindset of the fools? Work with the people who are willing to listen and work with you. And for the other ones, they
can kick rocks.
They can kick rocks. Work with the folks who are going to at least meet you halfway. If they're not going to meet you halfway, then kick rocks.
That's right.
And that way you don't get frustrated, you don't get burned out, and you can bring more white folks with you to help get other white folks to see the way.
That's right.
True.
Yeah.
But right now we don't want to try to. We made a massive win in 2018 in the Congress. But everybody has only got 2 years there, and it could all change again by 20. and the Republicans could take back the House, keep the Senate, and keep the presidency.
Well, I want to make sure that we characterize a win accurately. I mean, it's not really a win if they're not able to succeed or they don't advocate for our permanent interests. If they just sit in the chair and don't advocate, it's not really a win.
We have to have we have to be sure we have a majority so that we can win these seats.
Yeah, but see,
the we part I'm tepid about, only because I'm not completely sure that all the people elected.
Sounds like suddenly everybody wants to go middle of the road, but if we want to go after the things like policemen, white policemen and every other color policeman murdering black youth on the streets of Chicago and every other big city in the country, that's one of the first things that we want to go after and get changed. Also, the school situation where schools are being closed because the funds aren't there to keep them open. We want to get people into good schools and educated as well as possible. All those important things, I would think, would be at the top of the list. Going after somebody's closet lies or sins onto others, we can do that later.
I have a feeling, Denise, that keeps a lot of good people out of politics, knowing that they may have created some small committed some small thing. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you this question, Denise, and I know we're going to probably let you go, but would you advocate for a school system that is uniform across the board, no matter where you live? Whether you lived in an affluent neighborhood or in a low-income neighborhood, but would you advocate for schools that were just uniform across the board? Every school had the same thing.
Same resources.
Well, that's a big wish because, unfortunately, that's not going to be the case.
But would you advocate for? Could you get behind something like that?
If that could be done, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's it, Denise. We're gonna go. We're gonna work on that. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Recently, I've thought about this marijuana thing. I've never taken anything like that, but I have relatives who have ended up taking marijuana and other drugs who end up with manic depressiveness, mental illnesses of all sorts. And I've heard lately that they think maybe marijuana might have caused this in some instances. If they don't know for sure, is it a good idea for us to legalize this stuff?
Well, I mean, I think you could make the same argument about any drug. I mean, the opioids are probably the thing now. I mean, any drug has its side effects that are not opportune. But I don't think that the marijuana industry has been tested appropriately to be able to come to those conclusions yet. I just don't. I don't think so. I'm like you. I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in. Call us back, Denise.
Okay. Thanks for Denise. Let me get Eugene calling from Belvedere. Eugene, what's up, man? Can I call you Gene?
That's cool, man.
That's what. What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. You smoking weed or what, man? Denise said it ain't no good for you.
Building something out there.
Yeah.
You hungry, man?
You got the munchies, boy.
As Arsenio Hall said on Coming to America, I'm going to pray for you. But, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you, man?
No, I would say about the legalization of marijuana is overdue. And you guys are so astute and smart that you brought in Ray Ray and Pookie. See, Ray Ray and Pookie can't be part of this because they have to make money in our prison systems. Now, I agree they should grandfather it and take it back and let these people out. Me and you both know that won't happen. They're making too much money with incarceration.
Yeah.
And I got a son and a daughter, and I told them both, it doesn't matter if they make it legal, you still won't be judged the same way. And we know this. You know, I'm going to change the subject real quick, but you know Pocahontas got raped by a bunch of white guys. Yet we have a guy sitting in the Oval Office that thinks every time he say that, that's funny.
Yeah. People don't know their history.
Know, when you just said it right, brother, when you don't know your history, you will laugh at something like that if you're ignorant and you're white because you think, he's just kidding. No. There's nothing to kid about a rape.
Did you see his latest?
But then again, this is the same guy, excuse me, with the missiles on the panel that said grab him by the you-know-what. And now he's commenting on Virginia? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. What's ironic about the whole thing is it always galls me are the black Republicans who who stand up for that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to say on that one. I just had to keep my mouth shut.
Well, with them, I just say this about them. I'm real with people. I tell them I don't dance unless I like the music, and I don't scratch unless I itch.
Right. And I don't smile if I want to laugh.
Don't laugh, ain't nothing funny.
There you go. But see, you got so many now that are in that, and I got to say this because, and I'm not saying it because I'm breaking our race down by income, because I'm doing pretty good for myself. Sounds like you guys are too. So I don't think that determines you to be a black Republican. However, I do have friends that think that. I do. I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're black, and they're successful, and they say I can't be nothing but a Republican. And I just look at them as a sellout. That's just the way I look at it.
If they look at it in those aspects, then absolutely.
Eugene, they'll say that until they're driving home from their quote-unquote area, and a white cop decides to pull their black Republican behind over.
Right.
At that point, that money ain't going to
your name isn't Ty, it's Tyrone.
Right, yeah.
It's funny you said that, brother, because it's happened to a couple of them, and you know what they do?
What?
They make excuses. Well, you see, they're just trying to make the neighborhood safe. I don't mind it.
They should kick their black behind out there.
What are you talking about?
There'll always be those among us. The good news is, and we shouldn't feel bad about this, is that the permanent interests that we advocate for will help them too.
Right.
So to ostracize them doesn't make me feel bad at all.
And that right there, is the difference between us and them.
True.
We're not just advocating for stuff for us.
We want all votes.
Everybody.
Rising tide.
Everybody.
Raises all ships.
Yeah.
I am so grateful that you're all keep doing what you're doing. And again, like I said, I'm afraid for you. Have a good one.
We appreciate you, Eugene. Thank you.
My man, Gene. That's what I'm talking about.
I want to throw something out real quick. So to Denise, this is what you should remember. Eric tried to touch on this real quickly. If the people who we elected in 2018 take care of our permanent interest, they're going to be around.
Yes, they are.
So, Denise, that's what you really want to put your effort toward, is making sure that the people that you voted for in 2018, wherever you voted for them for, whatever office, state, federal, whatever the number might or location might be, make sure that they deal with our permanent interest.
The congresswoman from New York is doing her damn thing.
She's trying to, she is.
Right.
And you know why they don't like it? You know why they don't like it? Because she's doing her thing.
Right.
They
she don't care what you think.
That. She doesn't.
I love her because she adopted my motto, indifference.
She is just,
She is completely indifferent. I don't care what you think, and I'm trying to clap back if you're trying to get at me.
And you know what's cool about her? And I had to take a moment and think it through. She is truly looking out for the folks that voted for her,
right.
Not all these other fools.
You think? I ain't got to impress you. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get some news here from Tresta. Your voice right, girl?
I am fine.
All right, she got a little sniffy thing going on.
Just a little.
Don't touch nobody or nothing, though. I ain't trying to get that itchy, scratchy thing you got. I got Dave, Jim, Paul, Roosevelt, and Edward when we come back from the news. Stay tuned for more of The Family Meeting.
48 tracks to slide, the invincible microphone fiend rock him. Spread the word, cause I'm N-E-F-F-E-C-T, a smooth operator operating correctly. But back to the problem, I got a habit, you can't solve it. Silly rabbit.
This is Gloria Castillo, President and CEO of Chicago United. Join us on the World Wide Web at chicago-united.org. Keep listening to The Family Meeting.
Mixing, I'll put you in a mood, or is it a state of unawareness? Beware, it's the reanimator. A menace to a microphone, a lethal weapon or assassinator. If the people ain't stepping.
The reason that it's important to advertise on The Family Meeting is that we have an economical way of reaching a great audience. One could say it's not cheap, but what we like to say is that it's an effective buy for a business or an individual who wants to reach a quality audience. The reason that it's important or a good place to advertise is that our cousins love to patronize. I'm Richard Chu, also known as Bad, the Black Asian dude with The Family Meeting. For more information on advertising on the family meeting, you can reach us at info@tfmradioshow.com. That's info@tfmradioshow.com. You can also contact us at area code 708-794-6444, 708-794-6444.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. All benefits are subject to policy definitions, limitations, and exclusions. For details, visit qualityoiflifeinsurance.com.
Quality of life means health and peace of mind. Quality of life insurance means protecting your family if you die, but it can also provide income if you suffer a serious illness or injury and need financial help to maintain your lifestyle.
To find out more, contact the Polaris Insurance Agency. Visit polarisadvice.com or call 312-951-2606 to learn about how we can help you make a plan for your future. That's 312-951-2606.
This is Miss Lady B, La Boricua. Now it's time for the family meeting news.
I'm Teresa McDonald, and this is Real News from Real Research presented by the Family Meeting. Walgreens is facing backlash after it revealed that an employee who filled nearly 1 million prescriptions was not a pharmacist. The California Board of Pharmacy says that Kim Thine Lee filled 745,000 prescriptions over the course of a decade at 3 Walgreens locations in the San Jose area. Lay never graduated college and is not a licensed pharmacist, the board said. Lay used the license numbers of 2 other pharmacists with similar names to pull it off. Walgreens said in a statement, all pharmacist numbers nationwide have since been verified. Even so, customers remain concerned. Walgreens said that Lee stopped working for the company in 2017, but declined to comment on how she managed to work for so long. It is unclear if she will face criminal charges.
It's unclear. What you mean it's unclear?
They gotta wait till somebody die first. You know how that works. Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker's administration on Friday set the stage for a low expectations budget plan later this month, attacking former Republican Governor Bruce Rauner for driving Illinois, and I quote, into a financial ditch that will take years to pull out of. Rebuilding a strong financial foundation for Illinois will take more than 1 year or even 1 gubernatorial term, said a report from Deputy Governor Dan Hines, a former state comptroller. The current administration is committed to working diligently and across party lines to put our state on a path to fiscal stability. As Pritzker prepares to deliver his first spending bill to lawmakers on February the 20th, his administration said it is facing a $3.2 billion hole for the budget year that begins July 1st. That deficit is more than $400 million deeper than the Rauner administration estimated before leaving office. And finally, President Donald Trump might be in jail by the time Election Day comes around, Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren said on her first full day of campaigning as a declared presidential candidate. By the time we get to 2020, Donald Trump may not even be president, Warren said to voters in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, gathered at the Veterans Memorial Building. She said, in fact, he might even be a free person. The moment marked a notable shift for Warren, who has been reluctant to take on him directly by name since she announced her exploratory campaign on New Year's Eve. Lamenting that the country is in a dangerous moment, the Massachusetts Democrat said, what happens in 2020 is going to determine the direction of our nation, the direction of our people. Every day there's a racist tweet, a hateful tweet, something really dark and ugly, Warren said of Trump. And what are we as candidates, as activists, the press, going to do about it? Are we going to let him use those to divide us? Warren officially launched her campaign in Massachusetts on Saturday, where she issued a challenge to the super wealthy and called Trump just the latest, most extreme symptom of what's gone wrong in America. Visit our website, tfmradioshow.com, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for archived audio and video of the broadcast, as well as our music playlist. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at TFM Radio Show. The news today is brought to you by Identity Guard. Over 15 million Americans each year fall victim to identity theft. Protect yourself and everything you've worked so hard to build for as little as $6 per month. Visit lookaftermyid.com for more information and sign up. That's lookaftermyid.com. Do it today. I'm Teresa McDonald, and this has been your real news from real research, giving you real results. Eric, Richard, and myself will be right back with more of the Family Meeting.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
A basic and essential part of any financial plan is savings. Most of whatever cash you have will be there because you put it there, not necessarily because of some fancy investment. Now with Save and Plan, Polaris has introduced a way for you to get empowering financial advice. Save and Plan is simple. Just sign up to save on a systematic monthly basis directly from your account and gain access to a planner and our planning services. Once you sign up to save, Polaris will help you develop a customized financial plan and give you a real person to speak with. Your dedicated planner is just an email or phone call away. Save and Plan offers empowering advice for everyone. Visit us at polarisadvice.com and call us today at 312-951-2606 or email us at polarisadvice.com. That's 312-951-2606 or email us at polarisadvice.com. Save and Plan, empowering advice for everyone.
Securities offered through Lion Street Financial LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisor services offered through Lion Street Advisors LLC, registered investment advisors. Polaris Wealth Management and Lion Street Financial are not affiliated.
Hey Chicago, it's time for you to make a difference in a child's life. AARP Foundation Corps is looking for volunteers to help kindergarten to third graders read. You can do it. Here's how you can register. Call 877-926-8300. That's 877-926-8300. And reference AARP Foundation Experience Corps or visit www.aarp.org/eatchicago. It's time for you to help a child read.
Riggedy row, gibbity gadzooks, here I go, so biggity flame on, Geronimo, yo, I biggity burn, biggity rubber when I blabber, great, I biggity make the Wonder Twins, the actor, fake, it's crazy, I'm biggity breaking backs and busting lips, I biggity freak, Gladys Knight, and those freaking pips, shrimps, I'm biggity make enough noise like Bam Bam, throw boulders from bedrock, you'll get dropped by Slam Man, so check it, I biggity wreck it quick, oh shucks, I gibbity got big ducks like Daddy War Bucks, oh Anna, I biggity rock the Coca, Cabana, banana, split, hot, spit, so sick.
This is Sue Myers, founder of Indivisible South Suburban Chicago. Welcome back to the Family Meeting.
I thought that was a nice contrast to have a white woman talking over DOS effects.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The biggie and all that. It's a good contrast, you know?
It actually complemented each other.
It's artistic, right?
Yeah.
Eric Deck had his own mix.
That's creativity.
That's right. DOS effects and Sue Myers,
man,
they go together, man.
Sue's gonna be loving it.
Too funny.
I was listening to the author of the book. I forget the title of the book, but it was about the collaboration between Run DMC
and Aerosmith.
Yeah, okay. And he talked about how they just didn't like each other. They just, it still don't.
Really?
They never did like each other. They weren't like friends or anything. Because he pointed it to one. They got a lot of it on video, too, by the way. Audio and video of them having conversations. They just was like, man, because, Aerosmith was supposed to be the group.
At that time.
Right, superstars.
Yeah.
And Run DMC was like,
they ain't nothing.
Oh, that's some old country BS, man. I ain't interested in that, man. Right? So Jam Master Jay was kind of laying out for him how Jam Master Jay was a DJ for Run DMC. He was laying out how he was going to, play the break from that song, Run This Way, or Walk This Way, whatever it was. I don't even like the song. And he was telling them, I'm going to play it right up to that country BS starts, man. Then I'm going to reverse it again, so we ain't got to hear you with that country BS, man. He told him that, man.
Wow. And the crazy thing about it is he won't say it, but the lead singer of Aerosmith, he finally got religion to realize that was the best single move he made in his career. They had plateaued to their audience.
Right.
And then that gave them crossover cred for that window of time.
Both of them realized that they still don't like each other.
Right. And so, sometimes you got to bury your ego and leave it in the trunk of your car.
He said that Run DMC didn't even know who they were. He said to this day, they probably still don't realize who they are.
Yeah. Well,
because they weren't a superstar in their neighborhood. It's like, that's some old hillbilly BS. I ain't trying to get out with that.
Wait, a couple of fairly cool white boys from the Northeast, which is where they're from, Aerosmith.
But take your word for it, because I don't know them either.
But Steven Tyler.
I didn't even like the song, to tell you the truth.
I didn't either.
Walk This Way.
Nah, I mean it wasn't. I mean the break beat was cool. But
yeah. I mean it served its purpose. That's how
I will say that was probably the first time I was introduced to Aerosmith.
I knew about them. I only knew about them.
So that was the crossover that you're talking about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They both benefited in a major way. Aerosmith,
they got paid
bigger than Run DMC did because they had plateaued
because they were playing in arenas at that point, and Run DMC was playing in clubs.
Right.
So it brought Run DMC to arenas.
Bingo.
Right.
Yeah. Anyhow, calls, brother.
Okay, David calling about Virginia and Trump. Dave, what's up, man?
What's up? I was glad to hear Teresa refer to Trump as the idiot that he is rather than an imbecile, because y'all been giving Trump too much credit, and imbeciles are probably in.
I've been saying that, man. People try to attach some sort of ration to what he's doing, like he's planning and plotting. No, he's not. He's like my dog sniffing a tree. This is all instinct, man. He don't know what he's doing.
An imbecile is not as smart as an idiot.
Right, exactly.
And you've been calling him an imbecile. He's not. He's an idiot.
Okay. We'll take either.
On behalf of imbecile, I'm not an imbecile, but I'm sure they took offense to that. Like, he ain't one of
us. Dave, man, that's just too
probably
cool.
too imbecilic to know the difference.
Exactly.
There you go. But I really called to talk about the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. I was watching AM Joy this morning, and everybody who was not black on that show went off on, he needs to resign. He needs to resign. And this white woman who I'm sure doesn't know the purported victims or the purported perpetrator say, well, I believe them. How would you believe them? You don't know them. You don't know him. I don't know whether he did it. I don't know whether they tell the truth. Only time will tell. But for her to say, well, he needs to resign because I believe them. How the heck do you believe them? What is up with this?
I mean, but you have to make sure, if that's your position, that you apply that to Kavanaugh as well.
Yeah.
But didn't we see it? I mean, I didn't know whether Kavanaugh did it before all this stuff came out, and then his boys talking about, well, that's him, But when it just said, well, she said it, he said it. Okay, well, let's like judgment.
See, here's the question.
Prove your case.
Dave, here's a question that I want everybody to ask.
It's delicate, though. I think you'd agree, Dave. It's delicate, though, right?
It is,
it is delicate. But are we going? What if it comes out? Well, like some of these people that had these memories extracted from them about these priests, and it turned out, well, they actually didn't do it. I mean, I'm not saying first of all, if the brother did it, they should have been some family there and beat him down. But because that's what would happen where I come from.
Yeah.
But if I don't know these people, it's like, okay, he said he didn't do it. You say he did it. We're going to check it out.
I don't think that they're asking him to step down from that standpoint of not whether or not he did it. They're just asking him to step down from a standpoint that the Democrats so much have taken this zero tolerance position.
But watch this though. Dave just pointed to.
You have to do something. You can't have zero tolerance, and I ain't did nothing.
But Dave just pointed to some really interesting insight into black culture. So if that brother got down with them sisters in the wrong way, there was some brothers that going to address him.
You know, I didn't miss that. I heard when he said that. He's right. There was some brothers going to come visit.
But that didn't happen, though.
So we know in our community, that's why we can say, you know, how we feel about that he shouldn't go. Because had that happened, you would know.
Then, okay, yeah. So,
Because apparently they told somebody
Thank you,
afterwards.
David. We appreciate you calling.
One more thing before y'all go. During football season, could y'all do like a morning show? Y'all out during football season.
No, dude, listen, man. You got to turn the volume down on the football and listen, bro.
I got Bears tickets. I'll be at the game.
Oh, well, then
you're going to
hold us on our
put on tune in radio, man. Put some headphones on.
That's all you got to do.
Because I ain't getting up in the morning to do this, man.
Are you season ticket holder, David?
You got to hook up Tressa if you are. Okay.
That sounds like you want to take the family meeting with you one time.
Yeah.
Well, that can happen with y'all. We only got 2 tickets. Y'all have to take turns.
We'll take Tressa first.
Cool, yeah, Tressa goes first.
Yeah, because I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah, but I get to go second before it get cold.
Yeah.
Rich can go when it get cold.
I can handle it.
Yeah. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, y'all.
Okay, man. Take care.
Yeah, listen, I applied the same logic I applied with Kavanaugh that I'm applying with Justin Fairfax. I'm not looking at the fact that one's black and one's white. When I heard the story about Kavanaugh and when I heard what she said, I made a decision based upon what she said, how she laid it out, and I'm a Virgo. If you tell me something, it has to make sense.
She's going to call on the Virgo thing.
No, I'm serious. There's something to that.
There is.
To the Virgo thing?
And it has to make sense. Because I'm analyzing you when you talking to me, and it's got to be a plausible.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question then. It don't make no sense that you got to have specific seat at the movie theater.
Yes, it does.
It does not make any sense.
There's a method to my madness.
So here's a logic, y'all.
Listen.
That don't make no damn sense, man.
I'm height challenged. So at that specific seat.
Bring a phone book or something.
I'm at the perfect
Keep it in your
height.
purse.
I can be comfortable.
Keep one of those
I get the perfect
inflatable
optics.
bags.
I get the perfect. Yeah, listen, I got to have the specific seat. And if I can't have my seat, I'm not going. But back to what I was saying about that. So I did that with Kavanaugh and Dr. Blasey Ford. I'm doing it now with Justin and what is her name? Veronica Taylor, whatever,
Taylor,
and Miss Watson. I haven't heard Miss Watson's story yet. But I'm going to tell you how I feel about Miss Taylor's story and Justin's story. Do I believe those two hooked up? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The way she told the story that he strong-armed her into a position to do certain acts on him.
Okay, so let me jump in with you.
Hold on. Let me tell you why, and then you can jump in. Because what does a black man cover the most on his body? And the last place he gonna put you is if he forcing you to do something with them teeth. Get on up over there. I'm done.
Horrible thought.
I'm done. Let me drop the mic because I'm done.
Tressa, I'm done. All week I have in my own private Idaho have said there's a couple parts. Yeah. I just always take the woman's position in this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But when there's something that's askew, I have to stop and go, okay, wait a minute. And I'm not going to go down that road because I have a similar observation that you have until the facts are presented. Yeah. If something doesn't make sense.
Something ain't
because here's the thing. I'd rather we stay silent.
And so I'm going to stay silent.
Because there's too many people out there who have it happen to them and don't come forward.
Right.
And it's for the reason that they get judged.
Bingo. And I have the members.
And that could very well be true. Matter of fact, I know that is true in certain instances.
Let's look at
wait,
hold on, guys. Let's look at this differently. Not differently, but from a different angle. I'm going to be silent, like Eric says on this, but I'm going to make a comment about the judgment or the call for him to step down. Let me tell you where I stand on this. If you're Democrat or Republican or Independent and you're saying publicly on a news show that Lieutenant Governor Fairfax needs to step down, then I want to hear those same words come out of your mouth for the arm's length of white men and some black men, but mostly white men that are politicians that are holding office. And those same people have not publicly said he needs to step down.
What I want to know
starting
is
with 45.
When did this come about, Justin Fairfax? This started out being Northam in blackface. Now all of a sudden it's morphed into all the attention being on him. And for the record, y'all president appears every time in blackface. Because he up there with that bronzer on his face. And he wearing blackface every day. Get on up out of here.
You see those people raising money to send the balloon, the big balloon down to the rally in Texas he was having?
I ain't seen that.
Anyhow, I know Eric said get the calls.
Man, I hate talking about that imbecile, man. I can't,
That's okay.
Talk about him.
Just toss it
I
up.
want to get back to violence, man.
Okay, let's get back to violence.
Get back to violence.
Yeah, because we need
economic
to talk
violence.
about violence. I got calls too.
All right,
so
calls.
I know I promised y'all I'd get y'all. We got to take another break though. But Dave in California, Jim, Paul, Roosevelt, Edward, and Tommy's waiting on us. We got to get him in.
We'll be quiet.
Tommy
You go
can
right
say
to the
we'll be
calls when we
quiet.
come back.
Yeah, stay tuned for more of the family meeting.
In this answer I can give them a new beginning, Stevie-O and my dope rhythm. I sought the Lord Master, give a mental harm. My sole chief belief is that of Islam. My beats pump, so let it grab ya. I got a trick, but my name ain't Alibaba. So open sesame, never heard the best of me. Bet you all the people.
This is Abdel Shakur, Mr. Know-It-All. Keep listening to the family meeting.
And if you didn't know, I can tell you that I'm a Meliku brother, slicker than oil. Rap gets so hot it makes the spit boil. The rhythm.
Make a smart financial move for retirement. Make your retirement money into an IRA. Schedule income. Support your dream. Explore investment options. Gain full control over your money. Give the money a chance for additional tax-deferred growth. How do you start? Call Polaris Wealth Management, the resource for IRA rollovers. Call 312-951-2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. Polaris Wealth Management is the resource for IRA rollovers. That's 312-951-2606 or email us at polaris@polarisadvice.com. We help new retirees plan to protect their money. Securities offered through Line Street Financial LLC. Member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Line Street Advisors LLC. Polaris Wealth Management and Line Street are not affiliated.
Is your child prepared for the school year? Getting started early means a better chance of getting ahead. Masters Plus Tutoring in Homewood is the program that works. No matter what your child needs to prepare for the coming academic year, better study habits, organizational skills, or time management, Masters Plus can help. In fact, they tutor students in all subjects from kindergarten through college. Perhaps ACT, SAT, or Catholic high school prep are in order. Just visit mptutors.com and request a consultation. All sessions are taught by certified instructors in a private one-to-one setting to ensure each student receives individualized instruction. Whether your child is at a basic level or reaching for advanced placement, Masters Plus Tutoring can help. Call 708-798-8400 or visit them on the web at mptutors.com. Mention WCPT and you'll receive a $25 tuition credit with a purchase of 4 hours or more. That's mptutors.com.
And books around concepts and hooks, session to session to get thoughts manifesting, stressing and stressing to hit the world with a blessing. A lot of people often ask, well, how you giving back? The way I give back is through the knowledge of my raps, like a gym. For all my people caught out on the limb, who be giving in, caught out on the stem, who don't want to win. I'm feeling
We're back to the family meeting. This is Kevin Pitts from the Performance Consulting Group.
Yeah, so I got to get these phones, man, because y'all been holding
I'm going to be quiet.
a long time. But I like my brand Nubian joint, man. I'm trying to get out.
Just get the phones, man.
No, but I like brand Nubian, man. Hey.
We're trying to help him get to you, Dave, Jim, Paul, Roosevelt, Edward. But he's just up in here dancing.
Brand Nubian's on, man.
The adherence to the rules.
Don't say nothing. We got to be quiet.
Okay.
Can't blame us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. It's brand Nubian, though, man. You can say it, man. It's brand Nubian, man.
We're trying, y'all. We're trying to get him to take your calls.
I can't.
He's just rocking out up in here.
Pooh-Bah's doing his thing, man.
We know that.
Yeah, man. It's like the latest joint, too, man. Brand Nubian's joint. This is the latest joint, man. They ain't did a lot of work, man.
We know that.
It's brand Nubian. You know what I'm saying?
Man. Can't blame Paul or Roosevelt for that.
Yeah, I know. Y'all like brand Nubian, though, don't you?
Not anymore. They're about to become at the
like
bottom
brand
of the
Nubian,
list.
Zoe?
Say no, Zoe. Tell him no.
She ain't but 18 years old. She don't know brand
Tell him that's
Nubian.
what your grandparents played.
Oh my
You better not.
God. You
She ain't
see how
she's
this
in
works,
the 20s.
Richard?
I know. I'm just gonna be
saying,
quiet.
man. It's brand Nubian. You gotta rock brand Nubian when it's on, man. Zoe just got her driver's license too. I know how old you are, girl. Let me get Dave calling from California. Dave, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
You like brand Nubian, man?
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to switch. I have to switch gears on something that things you were talking about.
Okay.
Can somebody tell me? Can somebody put these idiots, PG&E, in jail? Why is it taking so long that they have to basically bail out themselves and file Chapter 7, Chapter 11 for that matter, and all the people that they're responsible for, like the Brisbane, San Bruno fire, the Napa fire.
Okay, so hold on, Dave. Hold on, Dave. Let me give a little background here. So the power company in California is discovered is they're probably responsible for the fires.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're going to declare bankruptcy to avoid being sued, and so on and so forth. Right.
Right. So I have a problem with that. I mean, here they're still in business, and the CEO or what the president of the company should be thrown in jail. And it's these companies, man. They think that they can get away with a whole damn thing, and they think that, well, hey, we'll file Chapter 11, stay in business, so we can avoid not paying these lawsuits and so forth. But I bet you their stockholders. What about their stockholders? Are they hurting right now?
So the bad news is, Dave, they're going to get away with it, man.
Yeah.
Of course they are. Everybody knows they're going to get away with it. So I just think that I tell you one thing. If the Public Utility Commission doesn't do anything, or Gavin Newsom or the Attorney General does not go after these people and throw these people in jail, or basically let the government take over their public utility, their basically public utility, as a energy company, if they don't take over them, I tell you one thing. That's just sad. It just hurts me to see that
here's a suggestion.
Their families, they're dead.
Here's a suggestion, Dave. Just listen to this real quickly. So we talk about our permanent interest on the show often. What you need to do is put this on your list of permanent interest. And that way, it becomes less of an issue politically. It just becomes an issue that's right for the people of the state of California and to some extent the neighboring states. So that's how you should approach this. This is a permanent interest item. Government fraud, or I'm sorry, corporate fraud that's assisted by, the government.
Bankruptcy laws.
Right, because your boy, Gavin, you don't know where he sits on this. You got to be careful.
Right.
You got to be careful to lean on him to get it done. This is an interest of the citizenry. I'm telling you, that's how you should direct your energy.
Good point. Hey, Dave, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Bye.
They're going to get away with it, man. That's for sure. Let me get Jim from South Elgin. Jim, what's up, man?
How are you guys?
I'm good, man. How are you?
It's been a while. Good. I called initially because of the Chicago race. I want to make sure that Willie Wilson gets in. He's not part of this corruption. He's not the Johnny-come-lately, this thing about Al Gore endorsing Daley. It's just such a joke. But you mentioned a couple things before. First of all, a couple weeks ago, we talked about crime in Elgin. A friend of mine is on the city council in Elgin. His name is Terry Gavin, and he told me the crime has gone down quite a bit over the last few years in Elgin. So things aren't too bad here in Elgin.
Why did it go down?
Well, probably because of good policing, and there's a lot of things that there's
crime doesn't go down because of policing.
A bunch of homes out here and things. So
crime doesn't go down.
There's still some good things happening.
Jim, crime doesn't go down because of policing.
Well, it has to do with also a good economic basis compared to places like Chicago.
Thank you.
That helps. And this is one of the problems we talk about crime in Chicago. Kids cannot get entry-level jobs.
Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you what it is. It's a reduction in economic violence that reduces crime.
Well, I'm not sure if I would go with that definition, and now also,
of course you would.
Talked about is Cortez. You might have heard this little green thing that she released, and they actually pulled it off the
Don't nobody care about that, Jim. Next subject.
Who's Cortez?
Well, no, we talked about aviation.
Like I said, nobody cares about that.
You don't
what's
get
your
to.
next
A lot of
point?
people do.
Well, what's your next point, Jim?
Yeah, no leverage, no leverage used
Thank
here,
you.
Jim.
None.
It was just because
your son wants to be a pilot, so what happens if she wants to wreck that industry?
I don't know that she's wrecking the industry.
I told you,
Well, that was part of the platform.
Ain't that what that's why I said nobody care about that.
I hear you, man, but I don't think that what she's proposing is wrecking the industry.
Thank you.
Well, if you want to do away with aviation, what's that called?
But that doesn't make any sense, though, Jim. Why would you do away with?
That's Cortez.
And she didn't even say let's do away with aviation.
Aviation is a principal means of transportation in this country,
absolutely.
man.
Well, I agree with you, but that was what her platform. That was part of this green package that she rolled out, and that's why it was taken off the.
I got my finger on the drop button.
No. So listen, man. There's thousands and thousands of jobs that can be created. I mean, forget whether you believe in climate change or not. There's thousands, tens and hundreds of thousands of jobs to be had in that industry.
Absolutely. That's why Meigs should be rebuilt.
No, it shouldn't.
That's what Willie Wilson.
No, wait. Hold on a second. Meigs has nothing to do with green energy, Jim.
It's nothing at all.
There's nothing there, man.
Airports create jobs.
Yeah, but Jim, Meigs doesn't have anything to do.
That was
with
an
green
elitist
energy.
airport, Jim, and you know it.
I'm sorry?
It doesn't even matter what it meant. That just has nothing. There's no correlation there, Jim.
It was criminally destroyed, first of all, by Daley.
Okay, maybe it was, but it has nothing to do with green energy.
God.
Well, green energy is kind of a fallacy. I mean,
dude,
and the earth is flat. There's people out there throwing pestilence. And slavery didn't happen.
Jim, that's not true.
And the police aren't killing people. And the violence. Oh my goodness.
That's just not true, Jim. That's just not true, Jim.
I had a conversation, Trust, with a friend of mine a few weeks ago. Not every person with a medical degree knows what the hell they're talking about.
Baby, say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the situation is the stats of Chicago speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Well, then don't come here.
And then they're as a result of economic, educational, and environmental violence.
And who's been in charge?
Democrats.
Exactly. So that's why you don't vote for them.
No, that's not the reason. That's not the reason.
Oh, okay. So if it's based on who's in charge doing something that you don't think is appropriate, then they shouldn't be voted for? If that's your case, Jim, Jim, no. Jim, put your hand over your mouth for a second, Jim, and listen. Because if that's your rationale, I got some news for you, Jim. There's a whole bunch of Republicans that need to be unvoted for, like the former governor of this state. The former governor of Kansas, and a number of other. It's a disappointment. You already said, he's a disappointment.
Look at Mississippi. Look at Mississippi, Jim. Look at Mississippi, Jim.
All Republican.
Mississippi has never been worth a damn.
Oh no, it's how many nice black folks live in Mississippi.
Oh Lord, see,
look who's in charge though.
So you're insulting everybody who lives there, black and white in Mississippi.
I am, and look who's been in charge of Mississippi. But look who's been in charge of Mississippi.
But you said based on who's in charge.
Look who's been in charge of Mississippi.
5 minutes of my life that I will never get back. We done spent.
But Jim, if that's your rationale, Jim, then you need to deal with Mississippi too. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of fine folks live in Mississippi.
Sounds like the president. Just like
Jim, I appreciate it, man. Thanks, dude.
Both sides are good people.
Let's get Paul.
It's a waste of time talking.
Hey, Paul, what's up, man?
Paul,
don't go back there. Paul, don't go back there, man.
Come on,
don't
Paul.
even go back there. Man.
Get him, Paul.
No, don't. Just leave that alone, man. Just move on, okay?
Okay. You know what eternity feels like?
Did you hear me say 5 minutes of my life I'll never get back?
I'm starting to, yeah.
Yeah, the Chicago mayor, that's what eternity feels like, the Chicago mayor's race. That's been going on since the late 50s, hasn't it?
What?
I thought it was the late 40s, man.
We don't know.
Mayor's race, it seems like we've gone through about 10 mayors since this one's been going on. And everybody's going to be whining and crying when it's all over.
Yeah.
I bet the turnout will be worse than last time.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, well.
There's no focus. I mean, remember last time it was going to be Rahm versus Chewy, and Chewy was going to, he was going to be the big winner, and the turnout was like wah 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 wah, and now you got. I was proud of myself that I could name all 11 candidates in the Chicago mayor's race. That was about like a year ago. I don't think any of them are still in there. Oh well, anyway. So, Eric and I were emailing about this Virginia situation, and I got to tell you, Here's the problem, and I was talking to Scott earlier this morning. The problem here is the Democrats are, with the zero tolerance policy, are creating a lynch mob mentality to lynch themselves.
Yep.
Hey, I know that there will be progressive purists on there saying, "How dare a white person use the word lynch mob? Don't you know how hurtful that is to black people?" You know, it's like, this is the way it's become. And the problem is, I don't know the facts with this governor, and that's the problem. And the other thing is that we need due process. We need finding of fact. Whether he should step down or stay in there is, I don't know. I was saying that to Eric. What are the facts? Who are these people, these photos? Who was the editor of this yearbook? Who took the photograph? Who did all this stuff? And how did this come up? And what was he admitting to when he first said, I think what he was saying was, he was talking about the Michael Jackson photo. He didn't know that, this photo? I don't remember. And how does a photo like that get onto a yearbook of a medical school?
Thank you.
Yeah. Who decided to put that picture in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, of a medical school, I got to tell you something. When you graduate from medical school, that is one serious honor.
Yep.
You ain't going to mess that up.
Yep.
Because you're going to be, hopefully you're thinking about going to practice medicine.
Well, where it comes from is important. A Republican doctor that he went to school with got hawked off because of the comment that was misconstrued. It wasn't misconstrued. It was clear, and someone wanted to put a spin on it to make Northam look bad. And then this cat comes out with the picture. But ain't nobody talking about the head of the Republican legislature that he got caught too. And he's and so, but nobody wants him to step down. So let
me take it one step further. With regard to Justin Fairfax, this is what's really troubling. Is it saying, okay, first it was, other than the parts you brought up earlier, which I did not know about, but first it was sexual misconduct. He needs to step down. Now, as of yesterday, we're hearing the R word. We're rape. The remedy for rape is not you need to step down.
Yeah, because
you need to be prosecuted.
Court of law.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
No court of law.
Yep.
So, in other words, with Democrats and Republicans saying, it would be okay if you stepped out, are you going to shortchange the victims that far that you're not going to say, no, this requires due process? And by the way, these women, here's the other thing is, we don't get down to saying, we need to believe the women. What we really need to say is we need not to disbelieve them.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah, until we hear all the facts.
Until we hear all the facts.
But here's the thing, though. While we're busy talking about all this tomfoolery, we're not talking about our permanent interests.
Nope. And that's
right.
the distraction.
That's the distraction. That's where we're going with this. And in the meantime, they're also talking about, this Virginia abortion bill is for killing babies after they've been born a week, killing the babies at circumcision. It's almost gotten to be that part. I just kill them. Don't just circumcise them. Just kill them, right? It's like, I think, no, that's not it. As a matter of fact, what I found out about this bill is what it does, what this Virginia bill does is simply remove the requirement that a third trimester abortion not require 3 doctors to sign on to it.
Exactly.
Doesn't need to have a third trimester abortion decision made by committee.
I thought the government wanted to get out of people's business.
Yeah, how about Kavanaugh's dissent on the Louisiana abortion bill?
Well,
So we could go on and on with the whatabouts and this stuff, man. It's crazy. All of it's crazy.
The Kavanaugh
we can't get to the points anymore. You can't.
We were told that due process took place. Here's how you know when due process takes place, and I said this to Scott earlier. With regard to the Al Franken situation, there was no due process.
Sure wasn't.
Because there are still questions remaining. Who took that photo? How did that photo get into her hand? The information was that this was the tour photos that came to her on a disc. Nowadays, you'd post it on a shared cloud. But did Franken get a copy of these? How did this all come about? How come the photographer didn't wake her up if she was indeed asleep and say, hey, why did he participate in this set photo?
Exactly.
I mean, there's more blame to go around here, yet we just say, no, off with his head. Off with his head. There's no due process, and the same thing has to happen. If this Virginia governor wants to stay there, I don't know. It's so confusing now. He needs to appoint a committee, an investigative committee, to get to the bottom of the facts.
I'm with that.
Then when we find out, when there are no more questions
Except
remaining,
I'd rather
then
than
we can make the
spend.
decision.
We need to get to our permanent interests as well. So they need to do both.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, let's get to it.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paul.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Paul.
Man. Let's see what's on Edward's mind. Ed, what's up, man?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you.
I was going to talk about Sterling Bay. Do you know who that is?
Sterling
Bay is a company that I've heard of.
Right, they're the ones that were behind all these developments in downtown.
Yeah, the real estate company.
I call them like the yuppie company, the goodie for white people in the city.
Yeah.
They wanted to put that park over there by Goose Island and a soccer stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You're right about the tip, because you were talking about the tip. That's a big issue with me. And I just don't understand why we have a basketball stadium on Cermak in Indiana. So many hotels are going up. We need to break the record for the tallest building. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I guess that's for the tourists. I mean, who wants to go see people in the South Loop or on the west side or the south side or Pilsen or Little Village?
If you're really curious about why, all you've got to do is follow the money.
Yep.
It's true. It's always about money, man. It's either money or sex of some kind. It's always about.
And oftentimes they're blended together.
Yeah. Look for the money. Look how the money flows.
Yeah. This
And
isn't
you'll
the
see the
first time
reason.
we've reported about the TIF districts on this show either, Edward. So you should be listening all the time, dude, because we really keep y'all up to point on stuff like this.
Kind of.
Yeah, this is why I like your show better, because you talk about issues. Some of these others, they recycle the news.
Exactly.
Edward, where do you live? You live in the city or you live in the suburb?
Yeah, I live in the city. I live by Midway Airport.
Okay.
I'm over here by Archer Avenue.
Bridgeview.
And there's a suburb called LaGrange. They have all these real trendy restaurants.
Yeah.
Archer Avenue should look like LaGrange Road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really should.
Okay, man. Hey, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Edward.
Thanks,
Okay,
Edward.
thank you guys.
Call us
Have a good
back.
week.
Love you back, man. My man Ed over at Midway. Probably noisy over there, you think?
A little bit.
With the airplanes flying over. Gotta be, right?
Can be.
They need to put a muffler on some of them planes, man.
Yeah.
They don't get
a little
noisy
loud.
until their final, 500 feet of descent.
Mr. Dude over here, man.
I paid attention, I try. I get everything right, but
Okay, so Roosevelt's left, and we got to see what's on Tommy's mind. Stay tuned for more of the Family Meeting.
I used to rock it on the high school stage. I used to drink 40s back then. I didn't blaze. Switch to the pipe with the peace these days. Just go on to let you know I flow on. I'm wicked out my gluteus, so ho on and ho on.
Hi, this is Tommy Nelson. Visit me at A Custom Cabinet Design, Facebook.com. Keep listening to the Family Meeting.
Do you have a pain that won't cease? A health issue that's not getting better? It may be time you visited Health on Earth Wellness Centers. With over 20 years experience, 4 Chicagoland locations, and patients that range from 2 months old to 93, Health on Earth Wellness Centers are fully prepared to meet all your chiropractic needs. We have state-of-the-art facilities in Crestwood, Tinley Park, the South Loop, and Naperville. Don't let being healthy be your last resort. Make it your first choice. Make an appointment today at healthonearth.org. That's healthonearth.org.
The law office of Darnell Lyles is ready to help you. Whether it's personal injury, criminal, DUI, and OWI, nursing home, product liability, it doesn't matter. Call 219-939-9-LAW. That's 219-939-9529. That's right. When you're driving and get into a wreck.
You better call Darnell.
Had a few drinks too many? A cop hits you with a DUI or OWI?
I think you better call Darnell.
Arrested and facing criminal charges, misdemeanor or felony.
I think you better call Darnell.
Purchase a product that causes you or a loved one harm.
I think you better call Darnell.
When your loved one is neglected and abused in a nursing home.
I think you better call Darnell.
That's right, you better call Attorney Darnell Lyles and get represented right. And the first consultation is free. Yes, free. So call right now. 219-939-9LAW. That's 219-939-9529. Attorney Darnell Lyles. Darnell Lyles.
My walk through cops and doors and roam all over Coliseum floors. I stepped on stage at Live Aid. All the people gave and the poor got paid. And out of speakers, I did speak.
Wendy Calvert at wcalvertlaw.com. Welcome back to the family meeting.
Yeah, so let me get right to the phones, y'all.
Go.
I like Adidas, too, by the way. I was in Milwaukee this week,
Yes.
and I stopped off at that spot, the outlet mall thing.
Yeah.
They got an Adidas store there.
Yes, they do.
I almost got some of my Adidas from that joint.
Well, the closer drive for you is to drive over to Michigan City because they have one there too.
I'm not going over there because I got to go through Indiana to get there.
Yeah, you do.
I don't do Indiana, man.
I don't blame
so I can
you.
avoid it.
I don't blame you.
They got one at the outlet malls in Aurora.
And Aurora.
too,
Oh,
so.
yeah, they do.
Aurora's near the moon. I ain't trying to go out there yet.
We're trying to save him some
Near
drive
the
time.
moon.
It's near the moon, man. I
Coming
ain't trying to
at
go that far. Let's see what's on Roosevelt's mind. Roosevelt, what's up, man? You all right? You in a safe place?
Hey, how's it going, gang?
Good,
Hey, man.
Toys in the Attic, Aerosmith, 1973, one of the best albums they ever put out.
There you go.
Recommend it.
Get your history together on the music tip.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. What's he talking about? What are you talking about, man?
Gene stole some of my thunder. I wanted to talk about the Pocahontas and all this racism.
You and Gene got to fight it out then, man. You had to meet up with Gene and
Go
talk to him
ahead.
about
Give
that,
it to us, Roosevelt. Go ahead.
He burst into the scene by calling Mexicans, which I mentioned this before. I'm a Mexican American, and my grandfather used to say, when they talk about somebody else, you're not far behind. And he said about the countries, the blank countries.
Mm-hmm.
So he's played this card since he burst into the scene, yet we still hear it with this Pocahontas stuff. And to put it bluntly, he doesn't care about anything,
Nothing.
anybody,
Yep.
but himself.
Yep.
It's obvious, now Washington Post put out that article on the pipeline from Costa Rica to New Jersey as far as workers that were working for him in New Jersey to 2002.
Yep.
So I don't understand how there could be black Republicans, Latino Republicans, and to put it bluntly, this is my rhetorical question to you all. What is a Republican nowadays? And
That's it.
That's all I have to say, because what is a Republican?
You can drop the mic on that, Roosevelt.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it.
Thanks, man. Get somewhere safe, man. Don't
Yep.
let your wife come in on you.
Thank you, Roosevelt.
Thanks, Roosevelt. Have a good week.
I love your show, man. I
We
really enjoy your
appreciate
show.
you. We appreciate
man.
you.
Take care. Yeah, you know what? The biggest shame of that is you don't have a solid, cohesive, thoughtful, well-read in Republican Party to create a legitimate opposite argument.
Because you can't trust a thing that they do, can't trust a thing that they say.
The conversation about their playbook, like you said, and like Senator Warren has said, this is where a lot of people have to slow down. Yeah, we don't want to pick gangs and all that. But when it comes to Eric, when Eric gave the percentages earlier, the 90 to the 10, that's really to be looked at, because their playbook is the same old funky
and over
playbook
and over again.
And then when you hear people, I'm just going to call them out. You hear people like a Jim calling in, and I'm saying categorically that mindset. Anywhere in the country, calling into radio shows, that mindset is the old Republican, narrow-minded white male playbook. It hasn't changed, and it's not getting any better. It's not offering anything any new. It's the same. I mean, Trump coming down the escalator, that stuff started in the 90s. That was just
in the 50s.
Yeah, so I mean, with him, specifically with him. So the playbook hasn't changed, and I'm going to shut up because I know we got to get to Tommy.
Yeah.
You going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, and I know I want to say it now, but I don't, because I know Tommy's going to come in and everybody will listen to Tommy. But I want everybody to just do one thing for me. If you go back to that Face the Nation interview that Trump did for CBS, Face the Nation.
You're not going to suggest watch that, are you?
I don't want them to watch the whole thing. But there's
I don't want to watch any of it.
Well, there's a piece in there where she asks him about the Mueller report and collusion. And the words out of his mouth were, even the Mueller report says there was no collusion. And she just kept going on with her questioning. And I was like, wait a minute.
She just gave you a layup and you weren't prepared. But more importantly, how do you know that what the report has to say?
Thank you.
Yeah, and so that's...
How do you know?
So
because he's an imbecile, he doesn't know not to say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that tells you, when you're paying attention to stuff like that, that's the mess that the Republicans do.
Yeah.
Let's see
point,
what's
Tristan.
on my man Tommy's mind. Tom, what's up, man?
Well, it is a great evening and a great time to just say hey to the three of you in that studio and to tell you how much I absolutely adore all of you. But I just want to ask a simple narrative which goes back to simply this. In 2008, a black man was elected to the President of the United States of America. America then would have an extreme run on the purchases of guns. All of a sudden, when it comes to the midterm elections, the individuals who put that man in that office clearly forgot why they voted for change in the first place. And so now we come to the bastion of Confederate ideology in Virginia. Does it really surprise you that anybody down there in Virginia wearing shoe polish or putting on a Klan suit, does it really matter whether it's white or not? The bottom line to what I'm really actually saying to you is simply this. Don't you find it interesting that first this character comes out and this so-called discovery is made? But it didn't seem to be a bastion of confusion and stuff and calling and stuff until all of a sudden a black man once again was about to take over the White House. So I think maybe some of these states ought to paint your house, some houses of the national or the state capitol a different color. Then maybe y'all wouldn't be so upset if it's a person of color that's affixed to get a colored house. Maybe y'all consider saying the White House, you could say colored house. Because when the black man supposedly came up to be successor, then all of a sudden, here we go with then the next character who comes out and say, I did it too. But let's look at a real fact. Because the violence here in Chicago is manufactured. It has been, it continues to be, and the dumbest thing of all of it is that the people actually know it. So who is really the fault and to blame if a man closes 50 schools in the city of Chicago before Laquan McDonald comes out and you put him back in office again? Okay, I've had enough. I can't really stomach much of the stuff that goes on, but there's certain conversations that we should not even be having. We should not be having the conversations along the line of racism and why they do this or why they do that. Meanwhile, America is being straight fleeced for every nickel and dime it's got, and every last one of us at the end of the day are going to pay for it. Keep listening to the family meeting. I know Tommy will. Hell, I couldn't get no Jack. They wouldn't give me no blue pills. Wasn't no windows to break out. Everybody in the neighborhood moved. Damn, I'm just alone. Goodbye.
You catch Tommy at some point during the second hour of the family meeting every week. We got to do it for you. It's our weekly community service, because if we don't do it here, Tommy's going to take it on you.
And we take that seriously.
Or Ernest T. Bass. Remember Ernest T. Bass?
Oh, yeah.
He throwing rocks and busting windows. Ernest T., stop throwing them rocks. Stop busting them windows. Tommy want to get out there like Ernest T. and bust some windows.
I love Ernest T. Bass.
Yeah. Let me say something that I saw reminded me of something that I knew already. That we talk about Black History Month, and too often Black history starts at slavery. And somehow or another, well, I shouldn't say somehow or another, the notion is, and it's unspoken oftentimes, is that the slave ships went to Africa and got slaves, which is not true.
Nope.
They went over there and got engineers and doctors and teachers and lawyers and made them slaves.
Right.
That history is not talked about during Black History Month. No. And I wish that there was a really good way. I've tried to post where I could on our social media relevant Black historical stories.
Yeah.
But it is difficult to find.
Yeah, because they're erasing and rewriting.
Well, they
history.
want to take it. First of all, they want to take it out of many school systems in America. Yeah. And so anybody that, and this is going to go to Republican or Democrat or Independent, it gets into what I call the narrow white mind in America and white fragility.
Bad white dude ideas.
And some bad white women ideas. I mean, just I'm gonna call it as it is.
It's often most times it's white
most
dudes.
of the times it's white dudes
blowing up things and starting fights and all that stuff.
Can't listen.
White women ain't doing that.
No,
they're
they're
supporting white dudes who are doing that.
Right, and for reasons that's not always necessarily their own fault.
This
But
mess in South Africa was a bad. I mean, South America was as a result of a bad white dude
idea. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
So we to
Chickens
this
coming home to roost.
This conversation about Black History Month, to Eric's point, nobody wants to. Let me back up. That narrow-minded thought process, that person, they don't want to hear that because they can't handle it. They're fragile.
Yeah.
They have no state. They don't have the strength and the Strassels and the guts and all the stuff that they want to perpetrate. That they're the smartest, strongest, baddest. They don't actually have that. They're not actually that person.
Because who are they if they aren't bashing somebody else or blaming somebody else for what's going on in their lives?
The good thing is, though, they're the minority. So
and that's their fear.
We shouldn't even waste our time anymore with these idiots.
No, you're absolutely right. And anybody that wants to excuse their behavior and their thought process and rationalize it, like Eric says, we need to get T-shirts. Go kick rocks.
You walking around saying that 90% of black people who vote for Democrats are stupid.
But
right. You don't realize, sometimes you walk around thinking, everybody, why is everybody got coats on? Because it's cold.
Because it's cold out, fool. Yeah. That's all, guys. Sit that in, man.
Right. You're being fooled into thinking it's cold.
Trust it.
No.
I had a conversation with a lady, I swear to God, I promise you. She said that the earth is flat.
Yes, she didn't.
Yeah, I was smoking, wasn't you?
No. But when she said that, I looked at her. Before that, the conversation, we were talking about wines, the different flavors and how you recognize a good wine.
And then the stupid comes out.
Yeah. And when she said that the earth was flat, I looked at her like,
let me get up and leave. But see, trust me, that same person, this is my point, that same person.
But she reminded me of a Trump supporter when she said that. All the scientific evidence and facts-based data that's out there today for you to say that there's something wrong with you.
Trust her.
Right.
And that person.
That's what Jay-Z said about Trump. He said, because I forget who was interviewing him.
Yeah, it was.
You saw that interview?
I saw the interview too.
And you should. Did you see that interview?
It was Van Jones.
The look on Jay-Z's face was crazy because it was like Van said something about Trump and Jay-Z was like, man, something happened to that dude.
He did. You got to watch it. It's classic. Look, y'all.
Something real bad happened to him.
It was almost like he was going to say something happened to him with Charlotte. Yeah, his daddy probably abused him. But trust it. To your point about the lady who said the earth is flat.
The earth was flat.
I'm going to tie this back to where we started with what Eric has been saying about economic harm, violence.
Mm-hmm.
That woman, that mindset is the person that sits behind the desk.
Mm-hmm.
When a person of color, a black person, goes in to get a bank loan, wants to get their child into college, and we can go right on down the list, is going to approve that person's medical benefits at the VA hospital. That damn fool.
She's exacting violence on black people.
And she's uninformed.
Right.
But
let me be clear, too, before we make sure we wrap up today. These are Democrats in Chicago exacting violence on people.
If there's anything we've been trying to say, y'all, for those who want to say we just lean on the Republican, that is not true. We're pointing out, because of the basis of our permanent interest, that all parties and the fake in the middle independents are perpetrating this violence.
Right.
And we've been saying that for the longest time.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's all we've been saying.
So from the right, they'll give you all kind of, it's different now, and you have all the opportunity in the world. The reality is no. All the statistics say otherwise. Mm-hmm. And so I ain't interested in you giving me or us or anybody who needs help anything. I'm interested in you getting out of the way.
Thank you.
And part of getting out of the way is making sure that I have an equal opportunity to get a business loan to you. I don't have to worry about environmental problems in my community like you don't.
Right.
That's all I want you to do. I don't want you to give me clean air. I don't want you to give me a loan.
Yeah.
Just get out of my way so I can get it.
Just get out of my way
and
so
stop
I
throwing
can
hurdles in the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have. I want to thank you for yours. Thank you for tuning in to the show as usual. Thank you for Zoe and the work she does. Zoe works the cameras too, by the way, so if it looks crazy, she did it.
Out of focus.
That's right. Thank you to the Black Asian dude.
Hey, hey.
Thank you, Richard.
I love
Tressa
it.
and the new. Your voice is rocking today, girl.
Yeah, you cleaned it up, girl.
I mean, she got the little raspy thing going on today.
You like that, huh?
Yeah. Tune into the family meeting every Sunday at 4. I'm your host, Eric Grant. Peace.
Sex OT, Mac game similar next to Goldie Flex. You might feel, man, creeping through your room.